into the crime. Murder Man podcast. Andy got the facts. Amanda spitting fast. Delve into the night. Mysteries unfold. Cold cases sitting deep. Not a story told.
Are you in a good mood?
Better now. I got my food.
What happened?
I ordered hamburgers on DoorDash, smash burger. Took 90 minutes to get here, and then they delivered it to the wrong address.
But was the address still in your place, like your apartment complex, or was it someplace else?
I think it was in the apartment complex. I think they went to the wrong building.
So why didn't you just go get it?
I'm not going to fuck with that. Who knows what's happened to that?
Oh my God. Okay, so it happened
And besides,
to me.
it's like snowing outside. I ordered food specifically so that I didn't have to go get it, so I just got a refund.
Okay, well, if it's snowing outside,
Snowing.
I can understand. But it happened to me at our old house. Do you remember that? So I was starving, and I ordered Firehouse subs, and it said delivered. And I'm like, it shows a little picture?
Yeah.
And it showed like a different door.
Oh, that's the worst.
What the fuck is that? So I'm like, I go get in my car and drive around and look for that door. You're
a psychopath.
I was starving. I went down every street until I found it, and I did. It was like 3 streets down and at a different door, and I just walked up and got my food and left.
Who does that?
I mean, if you're hungry, you're hungry. You sounded like an asshole earlier, so.
I was fucking hungry, man.
Yeah, so I was like, we can't do this podcast.
I'm still not going to go slumming around the neighborhood looking for my food.
Yeah, it's kind of shitty.
They probably thought that was so crazy when they saw you on the camera.
You think they had a camera?
Yeah, have you seen your neighborhood?
My old neighborhood.
Oh, that one was pretty. That one was pretty slummy. That was a rough one.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, I feel you. It's not this one.
No, that one's nice. New house is nice.
What are we even doing? Like, I think we're gonna have a couple fans
already, but
yeah.
no one's listened to it or liked us.
I know. What's their problem? I talked to a couple of our old workmates.
Yeah, how'd that go?
I didn't. I just talked to one. She just said that she was excited to hear us because we are always like a hoot together.
Then why hasn't she listened?
Maybe she has. She might be one of the 100 people.
Okay.
Don't we have 100 people?
I think so. Something like that. 100 views.
I think we have 100, and then we have a couple on Apple Music. Listen. We'll get there.
I'm not going to lie. This is way more than I thought.
What did you think?
I didn't think anyone would even listen.
You didn't think we were going to get one view?
Not like a full listen. Not like start to finish listen. No, I didn't think we would get one.
Oh, but we have, because Apple Music shows me. Remember?
Okay.
Like in the analytics, it shows me that people have listened all the way through, and I was shocked.
Wow. That's impossible. That seems impossible.
The average person has listened 20 minutes. I mean, how long was it?
It's about halfway through.
So they quit on us halfway?
I think we quit on ourselves halfway through.
Maybe. We've kind of quit already today.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be sad. Listen,
I'm not sad. I'm happy now. I'm fed.
We have 87 views on Apple Podcast.
Yo, I don't even know 87 people.
I don't either. Not anymore.
Incredible.
I mean, not like friends.
I don't even know them.
No, you're not going to. We're going to get so many. We're going to be like a huge pod. Just watch. Or not.
God, I hope not.
So you want to talk about Lisa?
Before we jump into that, can we just talk about our last episode?
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, what was up with that?
I don't remember. What did we say?
It was a lot of nonsense. We didn't really get to the Elisa Lam case like we were hoping to break it down. I think we got sidetracked a lot.
Well, because people needed to know who we are. And I think that us bringing our bipolar diagnosis in and having our own experiences with it kind of helps with this case.
Yeah, I mean...
You don't think?
Yeah. Let's try it again.
Yeah, let's try it again. I think because when we were explaining, oh, this is what you do when you're manic, or this couldn't happen when you're bipolar, and all that helps the listener understand that maybe she didn't do this.
Because she definitely didn't.
No, fuck this. I'm so over anyone thinking that she killed her. I mean, that she killed herself. Yeah. I even found some other stuff on her today, but I know you have I found a couple things that just theories that I never thought about before. So, yeah, but let's start from the beginning
All right.
about
So
her.
do you want to treat this one like a real podcast, like a real true crime podcast?
Yeah, but we're still going to talk nonsense in between.
No, of course. I say, why don't you bring us in and then we'll just see what happens. We'll go for it.
Dude, welcome to Murder Man with Andy and Amanda. Are you guys ready for the Elisa Lam podcast?
I'm ready.
Yes?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, you start out. Where was she from again?
All right. Elisa Lam. Elisa was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, April 1991. And she was an undergraduate student at the University of British Columbia. So 21 years old at this point when she comes to LA and goes missing. She took the semester off of school because of poor grades and another relapse. So she did struggle with her mental health. And as we all know from hearing the case before, Elisa is bipolar.
Right. And did she talk about, like, specifically her bipolar on her blogs that you read, or no?
Yeah, she was pretty open with bipolar, pretty open with her depression and her struggle with mental health, even, some suicidal ideation.
Right. I knew she had this suicidal stuff. I didn't know if she actually named it, like, said bipolar, but that's good to hear. I like it when people are open about it.
Yeah, and she was diagnosed with bipolar, and she was on several psychotropic medications for that. And according to her sister, Sarah, she had gone off those in the past and suffered from hallucinations. So that adds another element to the case. And as we'll talk in a little bit about the creepy elevator footage and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I can see why when you hear her sister saying she went off her meds, just like a lot of us do with bipolar sometimes, you go on and off, like you can understand why someone would think, oh, she killed herself. I mean, she's talking about having suicidal ideations. So it wouldn't be hard to jump to that first, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And this story kind of takes place in January 2013, but as early back as September, she had posted like explicitly, I want to kill myself. I see no purpose in living anymore. So her blog was really, really dark.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a cop and you see that, you're like, well, I mean, sounds like she did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to write that off, right? Write that off as a suicide.
Especially if you're lazy.
Like the LAPD? Are you calling the LAPD lazy?
I mean, in certain situations, yes. And I'm not saying that they are now, but it feels like when you go back to especially the 90s cases, yes, I do. And I think that just like the O.J. Simpson case, which we're going to talk about on another podcast, by the way, we're going to have my friend Alex Tomei come on Mania on my podcast because he has some really great theories about that. But the point is the LAPD can be lazy. They can mess up a scene. So I just don't take their word always.
No, and this one is just too weird. I mean, if folks need to be reminded, Elisa Lam was the Canadian college student who was found dead, floating face up nude in the water tank on the top of the Cecil Hotel. So
right. She was traveling alone.
Yep.
Just wanted to go on a solo trip. And when you're young, 21 years old, a girl going on a solo trip to LA, I mean, it's already a little dangerous, don't you think?
Yeah, and she even admitted in one of her blogs, she started her trip in San Diego, and she admitted in one of her social media posts that she recklessly told the guy that she liked him at a hostel.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're even a little hypomanic, you take risks.
Definitely. And on January 26th, the following day, she posted that she's going out and hope no creepers harass her. So there's reason to believe that Elisa may have met some people that folks aren't aware of.
Yeah, I think when she said that, I was going to talk to you about that. When she said that, I hope creepers don't harass me. Do you think that she had like a specific person that was harassing her, or do you think she just meant in general? Because I think as a woman, we always think that. Do you think she was just making a point of saying like, we're going out, I'm going out tonight, and I hope no one's harassing me? Or was she saying someone had been following her?
I have no idea, but to me that sounds pretty specific. As if, I hope no creepers harass me tonight or something to that effect,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just hard for me to wrap my mind around because just as a woman going out, I always feel that way. I don't go out anymore, but as a young girl, I did feel that way.
When's the last time you went out?
Went out? Oh my God. Like the last time I went out, Daniel and I went to the clubhouse to eat dinner in a neighborhood. That's the last time I went out. How about you?
Riveting. No, I don't go out.
It's fucking stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like going out anymore. I had my time. I mean, we went out all the time and did crazy shit, and now I'm just tired.
I agree. I'm so tired. That's why I never had kids, just way too tired.
Oh, I'm so nervous about that. I mean, can you believe I'm going to have a child at some point?
No, I really can't.
I know. Do you think I'm going to be okay?
Yeah, I think you're going to be a great mom. You're going to be busy. Busy mom.
Thanks. So, and you'll be here too.
Like Uncle Jesse?
Yeah. Yeah, you live in the house and you help me take care of our child. It's like a group effort.
Like a community baby.
Yeah, community baby. Like they did back in the day. They live in villages and everybody just kind of took care of each other.
Yeah.
Except there's just like 3 of us.
I'll have to think about that one.
Whatever. Okay, we can get back to it. Where were we again? So she was going out and she said no creepers. Right?
Yeah, she hopes no creepers harass her. So I don't know if she had a problem with creepers in the past or like you said, it's just a general statement of what she hopes does and does not happen that night.
Yeah, because we don't know what her mindset was. Like, was she just in a weird mood? I don't know.
Exactly. And we're never going to know because the next day on January 27th, in her blog, she mentioned having an awesome time at a speakeasy, but that she lost her phone.
Let me ask you this. Was she in LA when she went to the speakeasy? Was she already there?
No, I believe she was still in San Diego.
I'm asking you that because on the corner of Main, where Cecil is, there's a fucking awesome speakeasy. Like, I used to go there. Melissa and I, we'd go there all the time. It's so cool, and it's right there on the corner. So it would be like 1-minute walk to the Cecil. That's why I was going to ask you that.
That's a little close.
Yeah, so maybe she went there first, is what I mean. I don't know. It is like a great little spot.
Yeah, okay. Maybe she went to the speakeasy in LA.
I don't know. You said she arrived the next day, though, so I don't know.
So my understanding is that she arrived the next day on January 28th, and she had posted, I have arrived in La La Land, ... which to me is just so creepy.
La La Land isn't creepy. That's what people call it.
The ... Like the continuation.
She actually wrote it out, D-O-T?
No, I'm saying it out. It was just a dot. It was a period. I'm saying ... because I think it's relevant to the creepiness of the whole thing.
Okay. I'm like being so fucking stupid right now. I thought she spelled out dot.
No, maybe I just did it too overdramatic.
You did.
Sometimes I'm a little extra.
Yeah, I think that's what happened just now. That was on you, not me. Because that was fucking weird. You're like, oh my God, she got to La La Land, ... Okay.
I was just reading her post. Now, would you not have read the ... Would you have just said, I have arrived in La La Land and just ended it like that?
Yeah, because... Or
I don't believe you.
Yes, because I think girls, especially back then, we did the ... a lot.
I never really do the ...
I had an ex-boyfriend who always did ... Do you remember him?
Is that the guy that really loved being sad?
Yeah. ... There was a lot of dots. So anyway, we can move on. So she checked into the Cecil,
What does ... actually mean?
I don't know. It's like leaving it off, right? Like, oh, I don't know. You're like leaving it to, I don't know. What does it mean? ... It's like when I say like, hey, we're here and we're about to go here, ...
Like I have arrived in La La Land, ...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to look up what the definition is. What is definition of ... Okay, so it's a statement that explains the meaning of a word, phrase, or symbol, and it can act of defining something. That doesn't tell me much at all.
That's not what we're looking for.
What do you mean?
That's not the definition.
I'm Googling it.
Oh.
Let me see. Maybe I got that wrong. What's the name of the ... Is there a name for it?
Period. I have no idea.
Yeah. Period. Yes, it says, what is the legal definition of what it... Oh, no.
We don't need the legal definition.
It says the legal definition of what is and what is not pornography. I don't know what website I'm on, but I'm just going to say I'm at the wrong place.
Yeah, you better scrub that search history.
Okay, what is the meaning of the 3 dots? It can have multiple meanings. Ellipsis, obviously, that's the word I was looking for. So, it can be used to imply a concept without using words. So it can mean anything. And sometimes it's a pause or an unfinished thought.
That's where I was going. Unfinished thought. That's how I kind of have always understood it.
Okay.
As
So
an
maybe
unfinished thought.
she was going to catch up with us later, probably.
But unfortunately, she wouldn't.
Oh, was that the last one?
That was one of her last posts. Yeah, how creepy.
Oh, God.
That's where I was trying to go with the creepiness of it, but you totally shut that down.
I know. I didn't know it was her very last one.
Not her very last one, but one of her last ones.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. When she posted that on January 27th, she claimed to have lost her phone at a speakeasy on January 27th, but this post, I have arrived in La La Land, ellipses, happened on the 28th of January. So how did she have her phone? How did she make that post?
A laptop? No?
Nah, that's a pretty good one.
Of course she had her laptop, right?
I guess. Yeah, I guess she had her
Wait,
laptop.
what year
We'll
is
cut
this?
this out. We'll cut this part out.
We're not cutting this out. This is great.
2013.
What are you talking about?
2013.
Yeah, she had her laptop with her, man, for sure. We're not cutting shit out. We're not cutting out any of that because it's hilarious.
I don't know why I didn't think of a laptop. I was thinking of a phone, you know?
Yeah, it's not like she had an iPad probably, but she definitely had a laptop with her.
Who updates their stuff on their laptop?
A blog back then? I think a lot of people, because she was like on Tumblr or whatever, right? One of those.
Yeah. I don't know. I never had social media.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you know, since you don't have social media and all that stuff. Like when I used to do MySpace and that shit, it definitely wasn't on a phone. It was on my laptop.
Yeah, 2013 is a long time ago.
Yeah, you're right.
It's over 12 years ago now.
Fuck, I don't know. Whatever. She definitely had something.
Okay, so yeah, the losing her phone, no big deal, I guess. Although, you know.
I mean, it still sucks. She lost her phone.
And she's down any mode of communication, really, other than her laptop, which isn't going to do much.
Her phone could have saved her life, maybe. She didn't have it.
Now, this is where the story really turns. It's when she checks into the Stay on Main in downtown LA, not aware it was the Cecil Hotel on Skid Row.
I was going to say the Stay on Main in quotes, because that is not what that place is. That is a lie. They were just covering up what the Cecil Hotel really is. Which was, you know, a place for murderers and a place where serial killers have stayed.
Totally.
I mean, people have jumped off the roof there and hit the ground, and it just seems like, you know, I'm not really like into the haunted shit, really. I think you are, right? Like places are haunted and that kind of thing. Okay.
No. I think it's fun, it's that. But I'm not a ghost believer. I'm a skeptic.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm a skeptic too. But I think that just a lot of bad things have happened.
If I saw a ghost, then that would change things. But
of course, if I saw a ghost, then I'm probably never going to sleep again. Just lots of creepy shit happened there. You know what I mean? Like murders and like serial killers there and people jumping off the roof. It just seems like a lot of bad things happen at this one place, and that's weird.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's what I was saying. That's why I was asking you about the creepy shit, like if you believe in that.
Well, it's definitely a hostel. I think it's shared. I think it's co-op. So I think it's part low-income housing and then part hotel, hostel, however you want to define that.
Yeah, and I don't think it always was. It used to just be a hotel back in the day, but when she was there, definitely half hostel. And like we had talked about in the first episode, shared bathrooms and, you know, not a great place.
Not a great place. You know, there's 600-700 rooms there too. So there's a ton of people congregated in this really small area. And to your point, like you're sharing amenities like bathrooms and you're sharing rooms. In fact, when Elisa first checked in to the Cecil, or Stay on Main as it was known, she was in a bunk with 3 other girls. And apparently she was acting so bizarre and erratic. And her behavior was so wild at one point when her roommates were trying to get in the room, she would force them to use passwords and things like that. So eventually, a few days later, they ended up kicking her out, and the front desk reassigned her to a single room.
Damn. And see, that's sus too. You know, it's suspect that she was acting so crazy.
Yeah. And that's not the first time.
No?
No, I mean, she's had a history of that. And then she was also, apparently while she was in Los Angeles, she got kicked out of an episode of Conan O'Brien live taping in the show for unruly behavior. So there's a lot to suspect that she's either off her meds or off her game a bit.
I know it sounds crazy to be laughing, but what could she have been doing in the Conan show to be kicked out of there?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I want to know. Like, was she like standing up and yelling? What was she doing in there?
I mean, she was definitely being bipolar.
Yeah.
She's bipolaring all over that place, I'm sure.
Dude, I wonder when she was at the Conan show, if she had those big clothes on or not.
I wonder if we could actually see her in a taping. Do they show the audience in those shows?
Exactly. They have to know. They have to have her on video at the Conan show, right?
We got to find it.
We have to find it for next. Yes, we have to look at that. Because I always thought it was weird she had big clothes on. So maybe that's how she dressed, but I don't think so.
Whose clothes were those? Were they hers?
I don't know, man. Because just like a second ago, we were talking about shared bathrooms and shit at the Cecil. So many weird men are in and out. Like, someone could have seen her and followed her into the bathroom there.
Yep.
Like, ooh, anything could have happened at that place.
And like, it's not just the people that are there too. It's Skid Row. So let's not forget, the dangers that lurk outside the building too.
Of course. And now that you say that, to get on the roof, like we talked about before, which I'm sure you'll talk about, is you can only get up there a couple ways. And the ladder on the side of the building, the fire escape, is one way to get on the roof. And that means people from the ground could probably get up there if they wanted, right?
Yeah. So apparently there are 4 known ways to get on the roof. There's 3 fire escapes from various floors, and there's one staircase on the 14th floor behind a locked door. So apparently there's a locked door taking you from the 14th floor to the roof. And we know Elisa was on the 14th floor in the elevator footage. But, you get all this mystique built around this idea that it was a locked door. And if you opened the door, an alarm would go off and things like that. But how often, especially in a shitty, dilapidated building like that, could you imagine a door not being locked or not being closed all the way or just being able to be wiggled open? So I don't know, the whole mystery of the locked door and her having to climb the fire escape, I don't necessarily think it was that hard to get on the roof.
The only thing that makes me think someone led her up there or went with her up there, maybe she was having a good time with someone who led her up there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
maybe like she didn't know she was going to her death. Maybe someone was like, let's go to the roof and hang out. And the reason I say that is because the dogs smelled her on the window going up that fire escape. That's the last scent they have of her.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's totally wild because, well, if we back up a second, when they found her on the roof, wait, what am I trying to say? I don't know. I lost my whole train of thought.
Sorry, I was talking about her just getting on the roof and like how she would have gotten up there. And if it's not an employee with a key, unless the door was, like you said, kind of open and they had to go up the fire escape, I'm saying they because I feel like in my heart someone was with her. But going out the window, I saw that there was they had those dogs like sniffing for her scent. And that's the last place that they smelled her, is the ledge of the window.
You got to question how reliable these dogs' scents are, because at one point, when they opened the missing persons investigation, they had searched the roof at least 2 times. And one time that we know of was with canine. So if she was sitting in the water tank for 2 weeks, it's kind of suspect how the dogs missed her in the first place. So was she not there at the beginning? Are the dogs' scents not that reliable?
Or maybe those tanks are so fucking insane that you can't smell through them that great because they're huge metal tanks.
Yeah, that's true too. I have no idea how well cadaver dogs do when bodies are submerged in water.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, when I watch like Dateline and shit, they always surprise me of how great they are at smelling things. But
especially
like you
cadaver
said, they're not
dogs.
perfect.
Yeah, especially cadaver dogs. They find, I've read accounts of them, finding bodies or body parts 30 feet below ground.
That's insane.
Insane. So you would think they would definitely be able to smell that in the water tank. But, who knows? Maybe she wasn't there at the beginning.
Maybe she wasn't there yet.
Maybe the lid was actually latched on, which they claim was off.
Okay, so when I
or
saw
open,
that
rather.
Open, I thought it meant that the guy who went upstairs to look at the water tank because the water was nasty. People were drinking that nasty ass water in the Cecil. I thought that he opened the tank and then that's why it was open. No?
So according to him, according to the maintenance worker that found Elisa in the tank,
Mm-hmm.
the lid to the tank was open. It wasn't closed. He testified that it was open, or not testified rather, but he gave a sworn statement that the lid was open.
That's crazy. You think she would be screaming in there, but no one would hear you, I guess.
Yeah, so that dispels any of the rumors that like, oh, how could she close the lid because apparently the lid wasn't closed. But
Okay,
once again, that lends to why didn't the police dogs find her the first time?
exactly. But, the lid was 20 pounds, so someone opened it.
Unless she opened it herself, which is kind of where the official story goes. But
You think she opened a 20-pound lid by her? Okay,
it
have
could
you
have
seen
already
the
been opened
pictures?
too. It could have already been opened, right?
I guess. I don't know. If you see the picture of like the ladder going up into this like cement area where there's the 4 tanks, she would have to climb this ladder. And then there was this huge space, and she wasn't big to get on top to open that lid. I don't believe it. Not for a second.
It seems so far-fetched and out of this world that you would make this crazy journey by yourself, navigating the building and the fire escapes and the locked doors and the tanks and the ladders and the lids and things like that.
Instead of just jumping off the roof.
Instead of just
Or
jumping off the roof if they thought she
taking
was
your
suicidal.
pills.
Now,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about suicide, here's some interesting facts.
Mm-hmm.
Only 1% of suicides are suicide by drowning. So that is extremely rare. And 2% of suicides are by jumping. So either way, statistically saying, she didn't commit suicide, right?
Are we talking about suicides with bipolar people or in general?
Just in general. 1% is by drowning.
Okay. Wonder what it is with bipolar people. I'm going to look.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. But I think regardless, most people don't choose to drown themselves.
No, fuck. I mean, how awful is that?
So I'm pretty sure, at least in my mind, I can rule suicide out. I don't think suicide was one of the probable scenarios.
I did read something that I thought was very interesting that I wanted to bring up with you.
Okay.
I think she had someone with her that wanted to kill her for whatever reason. And what if I saw a coroner online that said she could have been smothered and then thrown in there, and they would have never known after being in the water if that's the way she died. Now, if they would have found her on dry land or like thrown off the roof or in a room or whatever, they would have been able to tell that that's what happened to her, but not in water. So, does that make sense?
I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense. And I know that the amount of liquid in her lungs was not sufficient by a lot of people's standards to be a drowning. That's why they even considered it a dry drowning.
Wow. See?
So you make a great point. So smothered, right? You're going to asphyxiate, which is almost the same thing as drowning without the water in your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to, it's not a strangulation, so you're not going to break hyoid bones or cause petechiae or things like that, which probably wouldn't even be able to recognize in the water after that long. Or she could have been drowned in a different manner, like drowned in a bathtub, smothered by a pillow, and then moved to the water tank. That sounds more plausible to me than the idea that she scaled the building and climbed into a water tank because she was manic and either hiding from some type of hallucination or the other theory that she was, I don't know, wanted to go for a fucking swim, but that sounds absolutely ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Okay. So if that's the case and someone used a pillow on her or whatever, and I did notice that she had her medicine in her system like we talked about, but they said a small amount of alcohol was in her system. So what if she was hanging out with someone and they were, whatever, drinking or whatever they were doing, and suffocation probably would have been easier if someone was a little out of it.
Well,
right?
Here's the thing. When they did the autopsy and they did the toxicology report, they found no illegal drugs in her system, but they tested for, the primary ones, methamphetamines, opioids, things like that. What they never tested for was date rape drugs, GHB, Rohypnol, things like that. So we'll never know if she was a victim of any of those types of drugs.
That's so fucking maddening.
It really is.
That's how so many women die of GHB.
Yeah, that was never tested for. But let's back up for a minute here because I think we're getting ahead of ourselves.
All right.
I want to take us back to when she went missing. So The infamous elevator footage comes out on February 1st, and that's the last known sighting of her, and the police believe the elevator footage was from that same day, February 1st. And as everyone that's familiar with the case has seen, Elisa just has this really, really bizarre behavior in the elevator. She's frantically hitting buttons. She's popping in and out of the elevator. It looks like at one point she's arguing with someone. She seems very confused. She doesn't have her glasses on. She's wearing, like to your point earlier, she's wearing big clothes. What do you think's going on there?
I don't know. At one point, what I noticed at one point she backed into that corner of the elevator.
Yeah.
Remember when she did that? Like
Yep.
she was scared. And to me, she looked afraid. To me, she looked like she was talking to someone. And to me, when I see a shadow outside the elevator, like out of camera's view, I feel like someone was there. I don't think she was just so crazy seeing things that she was talking to no one. I just don't. What do you think?
You know, it's so hard to say. I think she's definitely afraid for her life. I don't know if she's hallucinating or if someone's there. I think it's completely reasonable to believe that someone's just out of frame of that camera, holding the door elevator button,
Yeah.
trying to keep it open. But in subsequent tests, a documentary crew went out and they did test that door close button, which apparently she hit, and you can tell she hit it in the elevator video when she was frantically hitting all the buttons. And they tested that to the door open button to hold open for about 2 minutes. So that would explain at least one theory or one method of how that door could remain open. But to your point, we don't know what was around that corner. She's definitely talking to someone. Is that someone
even with the
really
door
there?
open. Yeah, even if with the door open, I don't care how long the door is open. I know she's trying to get out of there, but I still think someone was there and she was trying to get away.
I mean, it is peculiar because as soon as she leaves, the elevator closed, right?
Yeah, those old ass elevators though. They were like that in my building downtown LA too. You could never get them to close.
There's an online theory around the time code that there's like a missing minute of video that was taken out, and someone can, they can tell by
I
the
heard
time
that
code
too.
or whatnot. But who knows? That time code that I saw is so blurred out and all fucked up. I don't know how anyone can make any sense of that.
Do you think someone from the hotel, like an employee, could have changed the time code, or not changed it, but like taken a minute out?
Well, maybe, but I think the police would notice that. I think what's probably likely, what's possible anyway, is that the police edited out some of that video. Like, maybe there was someone else in the elevator or came through the shot who they didn't believe was involved and didn't want to kind of speculate that to the public. Because I know they'll do some things like that to protect the innocent, but damn, if there was anything removed from that, I want to know exactly what was removed from that.
I mean, they could have just blanked a person out. They
True.
didn't have to remove anything.
Or nothing was removed,
Or, like, we're talking about, my theory was that it's someone who works there who knew about the cameras and stayed out of range. And if this person was the person who worked the cameras at the place, then they would have known how to do all of those things. Not only would they have a key to the roof, they would stay out of view of the cameras. They could fix the video. Like, I don't know.
So you're for the inside job theory?
Yes. That's how I feel. I don't know the names of the people who work there, and I don't want to put anyone on blast. So I would have to really look up the names. But I just know the name of the guy who found her, the Santiago guy or whatever. But you're not feeling that, huh?
No, I mean, I'm totally open to that. We'll never know because there was never a homicide report, right? The LAPD opened a missing persons case when her family reported her missing, and they searched the hotel several times. They searched a ton of rooms. They searched the roof,
but
with
not
canines.
all the rooms.
Not all the rooms, correct.
Stupid. Like, do you think it takes that many resources to search all those rooms? Do you think it's not worth it?
Well, they mentioned not having probable cause, and I don't know what to extent you need probable cause if you get permission from the building owner, but I have to keep reminding myself that this isn't a homicide investigation. It's just a missing persons investigation. So the threshold or bar for a probable cause, is probably that much higher.
Don't you feel like it should always be a homicide investigation until proven otherwise when someone's found dead like that?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
No question. And I think that's where the LAPD dropped the ball, excuse me, the most on this case was only investigating it as a missing persons or an accidental death. I don't think we got much of an investigation into her cause of death.
Yeah, so I feel like right when her parents admitted she was bipolar, or they found out she was bipolar, whenever they found that out, that's when they were just like, let's drop this. I don't
Yeah.
think that they were going to go further after they figured she had mental illness.
No, I think that's the obvious, easy point for them to throw in the towel and just blame it on mental health.
Yeah. So where are we at on the timeline? So
she's missing at this point. The police are searching for her. They're doing a missing persons investigation. They're interviewing hotel staff. They're interviewing hotel residents, people from the neighborhood, things of that nature, like they would do in any missing persons investigation.
Mhm.
And then on the 19th of February, she was found floating nude, face up in a water tank by a maintenance man on the roof. He went on the roof specifically to check because guests were complaining of low water pressure and black and brown water coming out of the faucet. So that's why he was on the roof in the first place.
Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, they were drinking her.
They were drinking her. Like, what is wrong? You know what? These fucking people are stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say. I'm not drinking brown water. I'm not doing
Never.
it. I would be
Never.
so pissed off. You would be calling down and being like, the water's brown, right? What's going on? And like in 2013, are people drinking sink water from the Cecil still?
I've never drank sink water in my life.
I don't do it at home.
No, I would never drink sink water. I like bottled water.
Yeah, and listen, I know everyone can't afford, bottled water is crazy expensive. I get that. It is. But I'm not drinking Cecil water is the point.
No, I'll go outside and wait for the rain with my mouth open.
Exactly. Yeah, or a bar down the street. I don't know. It has to be better than that. Not brown water.
Oh, but what does that even mean? Like, as she was decomposing in the tank,
Yeah.
folks were drinking that water? How disgusting. Yeah. How disgusting. How do you ever recover from that mentally?
You would never.
I would never.
You would not eat, drink, anything again.
No, I'd be dead. I'd be dead within weeks of that happening.
Because guys, if you don't, they don't know yet. Andy is like, if there's something wrong with food, I'm kind of the same way, but you're on another level. You just won't eat it again.
No, like if I have a bad piece of something or a bad,
experience,
it's over, bad experience, it's over for me.
Yeah, and like I do the same thing.
Bad piece of meat, I won't eat beef for a month.
Ugh, no. We had a bad time. You came to the house and we went somewhere to get food, and it was bad, and I've never eaten there again.
No, we ordered P.F. Chang's, right?
Oh, that was a different one. That's the one that you were freaking out about.
So disgusting. It came and it was like all gelatinous. My orange chicken was like Jello. It was fucking disgusting. I'll never eat Chang's again.
You looked at me and you go, "I'm so sorry, I can't eat this."
Well, I felt bad. It was our first dinner. When I came out to visit, it was our first dinner together, and it was just disgusting. I wouldn't touch it.
It's like, you don't have to be sorry. Let's order something else. And you're like, "No, I can't eat."
Better than the Cecil, though. Does the Cecil have room service? That's what I want to know.
Fuck no. They have shared bathrooms. Are you kidding me? I've been inside there. I told you. I had to go in just because there's such like, what is the word I'm looking for? Just like all this like weird shit around the Cecil. Everyone knows about it. You want to kind of walk in there, just feel what it feels like.
Yeah. What did it feel like?
It felt like they were trying to hide something. It felt like when I walked in when it was Stay on Main, where they had changed the whole lobby to be modern furniture and to make it kind of edgy. And you walk in there, but you see right past the lobby that everything else looks old and shitty. So you're like, it just feels like they're just trying to hide what it really is so that they could get business.
And it worked.
And it worked. It worked for Elisa because there's no fucking way she went there knowing that the Night Stalker lived there and people jump off roofs there. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. She got conned big time.
She did. It sucks. Yeah, I don't know, man. What's next? Where are we at? So they
find her on the roof, and she's nude, floating face up in the water tank, which is extremely suspicious anyway. Why is she nude and why is she floating face up if she's supposedly, according to the official story, got in that tank by herself?
Right. I don't buy the thing like, oh, my clothes were too heavy, I took them off. Like,
no, that's one theory, buoyancy, hypothermia, but that doesn't make sense to me either. When you first see that, the obvious thing is, wow, this poor girl must have been assaulted.
That's what I would think. When you see someone naked in a water tank, there's no way you wouldn't test them with a rape kit immediately. There's no way you wouldn't test that. It drives me wild.
Want to hear something really fucked up about this case?
What?
So they did take a sexual assault kit,
Yeah.
but they never processed it. Evidence
Why?
collection, they only collected evidence around the scene for 2 hours. They took a sexual assault kit, but it was never processed. Now, the assumption is it was never processed because at that point, they had never ruled it a homicide investigation. It was undetermined at that point, and then they ruled it an accident, so that kind of just sat in the backlog. But in 2018, the LA Times published an article where they estimated 13,000 backlogged sexual assault kits not tested in California alone. So when you think about that, the odds are insurmountable that you could even get a kit processed, never mind what the backlog and the waiting looks like. So it's not surprising when you hear numbers like that the sexual assault kit was never tested in the first place.
And that's not just California. That's almost everywhere in the United States. Where they put these kits, they just put them in storage, and then they don't ever test them. And it's not because they're just so busy. It's because they throw people away.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because, oh my God, we have so many, we can't get them tested. It's because they're like, it's over. They close cases and that's it. If they reopened her case and tested it, do you think there could be a different outcome?
I absolutely believe there would be a different outcome because it wasn't just the sexual assault kit that wasn't processed. They found hairs and fibers on her clothes along with sand and other particles that they never identified. So imagine finding foreign hairs on her clothes that were off in the water tank and not testing that. That seems unconscionable to me.
And what if it was one of the employees and it was like an easy win for them to do that?
You're right.
By the way, did you notice I was reading, I know that the Cecil wasn't doing well or whatever, but there weren't many employees.
Really? I didn't know that.
They didn't have very many people, it seems like. For a place that has 600 rooms.
Yeah, you're right.
There weren't many employees.
Do they even have security?
Oh, no. I mean, I don't think so.
You don't see a security guard walking the property at night?
So you see outside in downtown LA, all of the buildings that are lived in have a security guard out front, almost all of them, just to get in the building. But I never noticed one at the Cecil, and I walked right in, so no. Like at our building, we had 2. You had to show your ID and everything just to get upstairs. And I didn't live in a great, amazing building. We still had one. Because downtown LA is shady as fuck. And you're right there by Skid Row. So people are trying to come in, man.
I was reading, I hate to be the guy that's like, I was reading this and I was reading that, but
no, it's true. I was reading too. That's the point.
Skid Row is one of the poorest zip codes in the world, which is crazy to think that in a country like America where we have so much wealth, in a state like California where we have so much wealth, that we have one of the poorest zip codes in the world. That's just
a state like California where they pay the most taxes possible, and no one gets any help.
It just shows you how shittily we treat our homeless in this country.
It's the worst. It makes me really angry even thinking about that. Because I met a lot of people on Skid Row. I did. I met people who were good people who fucking, man, they just got had some bad luck, honestly, to end up there. You know how people always say, people are sometimes 2 paychecks away from being homeless.
Sure.
And when you do that and you're in Los Angeles and you become homeless, a lot of people don't realize that you're kind of put on Skid Row. You can't be homeless in Beverly Hills. They won't let you.
You're literally not allowed to be. They'll bus you back to LA.
Yep, I've seen it. They'll just take you. A cop will pick you up and take you back down there. And think about what if you just become homeless? You're a regular person. You're not on drugs. You couldn't pay your bills. Something happened in your family. Your wife died of cancer. I don't know, just a situation that happened to you, and you're homeless. That's where they take you?
It's crazy.
Can you imagine?
Just to be victimized.
Yes.
Again, on the streets.
Ugh. It's so fucked.
But that's one of the things that blows my mind the most about the Elisa Lam case is it doesn't look like she was victimized at all. There were no obvious signs of trauma. And the original autopsy report was inconclusive. And it sounds to me like they waited for the tox report to come back. Because to your point, as soon as they found out she was bipolar, They wanted to write this off as a manic episode.
They did.
So it was undetermined until the coroner got the tox report back. And like I said, there were no legal drugs present in her system, but they did find all of her medication present in her system in trace amounts. So we know that she was medicated at the time of her death. We just don't know to what level. So there's some speculation that she was under-medicated, but once again, that's purely speculation. I think the big thing from the autopsy report for me is when they ruled it inconclusive. The coroner had waited for that toxicology report to come back. And it just kind of blows my mind that they actually found trace amounts of drugs in her system and they still went with the manic route.
Right. Because like we had talked about before, two things can be true at once. She could have been a little manic and have been murdered.
That's exactly what I think happened, Amanda.
Yeah, me too. You can't blame everything on being manic. Okay.
No, but according to the final autopsy report, she died of drowning with bipolar as a contributing factor, right? But when they say bipolar is a contributing factor, that's not fair. You don't die from your mental health. Like you said, you don't die from depression, but you can die from risky behavior in a manic episode. And I think that's what they were trying to allude to, but
you can't say it like that then. Like,
exactly.
So she died from whatever risky behavior she was doing, not from bipolar.
Yeah,
that's not a thing.
The LAPD believes she was off her meds and hallucinating, but the coroner's report states this, and this to me is one of the biggest keys to the whole mystery. It says decedent had a history of bipolar disorder for which she was prescribed medication. Toxicology studies were performed for the presence of these drugs. However, quantitation in the blood was not performed due to limited sample availability. Therefore, interpretation is limited. And what that really means is there was not enough of a sample size of blood that they pulled from the liver to do a quantitation test to quantify what percentage of her medications were in her bloodstream. So that literally says there's not enough data to make an informed decision. So anyone who speculates to her being under-medicated is just ignorant to the facts.
It is. Yeah, because you don't know anything because they didn't have enough to tell. So that just means we literally don't know.
No. And all we do know is that she had them in her system. So it's convenient to fit the LAPD's narrative that she was off her meds, but that's not the case at all. In fact, it's the exact opposite. And even the coroner who provided the report said interpretation is limited, which is kind of a red flag for anyone who tries to interpret that themselves.
You know, I really think that suffocation is looking pretty plausible because
I think
no
it's
marking on the body.
Yeah.
Like
it accounts for no trauma. And I do want to say one more thing with the medication, and we've talked about this in a previous episode before we went off the rails. But she did have a surplus in her pill count. So she was taking her daily psychotropic meds were Lamictal, Seroquel, and Wellbutrin, and Effexor. She was taking Lamictal, Effexor, and Wellbutrin daily, and she was taking Seroquel as needed. She had a surplus of Lamictal, a surplus of Effexor, and just a few pills of Wellbutrin and Seroquel short from all her brand new meds that she had picked up on the 11th of January. So prior to leaving for California, she had got new scripts of all her meds. And then she had, added her old medications to that to come to California with a surplus in pills. So once again, that's the behavior of someone who's taking their medications regularly.
Yeah. Even if you're taking them somewhat regularly, you're still taking enough to where you're not going to be so manic that you are doing the things that they say she was doing.
Exactly.
I think that she, even though she said like, oh, I have suicidal ideations, I think what a lot of people don't understand with that too is you can be on medication and have those.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I've had it happen. Like it's been years for me like that, but I think people also get confused by suicidal ideations and being suicidal.
Absolutely.
When you're just having ideations, you're thinking about it, but you're not making plans or going through with anything. You're just thinking about it often. Like maybe saying like, oh, it would be better if I weren't here, or my family would be better off if I weren't here. Shit like that. That's an ideation. So you can't say, a lot of people have those. And if you're bipolar, you really have those. It definitely doesn't mean you're off your meds.
I always give my therapist shit because she's always asking me if I feel like I would be better off dead or if I want to harm myself. And like, I would never commit suicide, or at least I don't think I would. But the idea of just being dead sounds pretty appealing to me at sometimes. So I'm always giving her shit that that's really two separate questions, because wanting to be dead and actually killing yourself is completely different things.
Yeah, okay. I guess it depends on if you've made real plans to do it, is how I think about it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, say I've thought about if I were to do something like that, and people, I know this sounds like totally fucked up to think about, but when you have bipolar, it's a part of it. Okay, so I have thought about if I were to do something like that, I would use pills because that's just I just know. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to or I don't have those thoughts at all right now. But back in the day, I had thoughts like that, and I did think if I were to do it, I would do it with pills. But I feel like when you say that out loud, people assume you want to.
Well, that's
So
one of
it's
the
scary to say it
that's
out loud.
that's one of the shittiest parts of mental health is you can't really talk about suicide in a productive manner. You can't have a conversation about that or they start red flagging you.
Yeah, they want to put you away,
Yeah.
which is why I asked my therapist about this case, by the way.
Ooh, what did she have to say?
She agrees with us. She said she had never seen bipolar as a contributing factor, like on a coroner's report, that was just insane to her. She agreed with us. She was like, I can't believe that they put that on there. Like, there's just no way to know that that was a contributing factor to her death. Like, come
Of
on.
course not. It's so shameful and,
We're, yeah, we're not in
offensive.
her mind.
Offensive. Yeah.
It is offensive. Yeah, she was excited we were doing this, so maybe she'll be a listener.
Maybe we can get her on and she can kind of help us go through the psychology of what Elisa was going through.
Maybe. I could ask her. She's pretty cool. She might.
Let's do it.
She knows everything about you.
Oh boy. That's
Think
scary.
about it. Yeah, isn't that weird that there's this random person out there that knows your whole life?
And I've never met this person or talked to them.
No, all
Just
because of
through
me.
you. Just vicariously through you.
Yeah, because when I go to therapy, you talk about your life and you're a big part of my life. It's like I don't have many people in my life that I'm very close with, and you're one of them. So it's just funny that there's a person that knows all your fucking secrets.
We have
That
to
you
get her
didn't
on
tell.
now then. We have to get her on now.
Do you tell your therapist about me, or you're too secret if you don't?
I talk about you.
Okay, that's
But I don't
good.
tell her I don't spill all your tea to her like you clearly do me to your
Oh,
therapist.
wait. Not all of it.
Uh,
Not all of it.
Just a little?
Just some stuff that if I want like some opinions about.
Or if you want to feel better about yourself, you're like, well, Andy did this.
Yeah, he's way worse than me, man.
That's fucked
Yeah.
up.
Do that like, oh man, you think I'm bad?
But she totally
This
agrees
guy.
with us, right? She agrees
Yeah,
that
she
if
does.
Elisa had not been bipolar, it would have certainly been investigated as a homicide. I think being bipolar
Yes.
denied her justice.
I agree. She said it was always suspect to her. She remembers this case and it always felt off and not right. So, yeah, I think a lot of people feel like we feel though. If you just Google it, so many people feel this way. People have done documentaries on this, right? About
Oh, yeah,
how
there's so
shitty
much.
and like that it's not right.
No, it just doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, I don't think it's suicide. There was no regret or hesitation marks. Only 1% of people commit suicide by drowning. So statistically, there's nothing there. I don't think it was hard to access the roof, and I don't think she put herself in the tank. That's obvious. But I also think she might have been a little manic, possibly even hallucinating.
Definitely, yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't be manic and be murdered at the same time.
Yeah, agreed. That's the thing. Two things can be true. The one thing I disagree with you about is getting on the roof because those buildings downtown LA, they make it hard to get on the roof because so many people jump off. It's a thing. For real. Like when on our building too, you go up and it would beep if the door was open. We couldn't get up there without a key, but it would definitely beep. And there's cameras. And I think and I'm not saying the Cecil would have that because they're so shitty, but I do think that since so many people have jumped off that building, maybe they did.
Okay, that's fair. We know
Yeah.
that there was other reports too that there was like some recently fresh graffiti and stuff that looked like signs of like kids might have been partying on there at one point or not. So
Oh shit.
to your
Upstairs on
point,
the roof?
yeah. Or that could have been
Hmm.
employees. So people were accessing the roof. It's not like, to your point, speculating that it might be an employee. Could have even been some like local people from the neighborhood or whatnot.
Well,
Some
definitely
people
if
that
it's
live there.
kids, if it's kids, they could be climbing the ladder up there. They
Yeah.
don't care.
Or she could have been brought up on the stairs or, shown how to get up through the fire escape if she was hanging out with people.
Yeah, why am I so stuck on the employee?
Because
So
it makes
stuck on it.
sense. It makes a lot of sense as to why, if you're in the theory that she was followed and murdered, and if you're under the impression that someone was outside of the elevator following her and she wasn't hallucinating, then yeah, then that makes perfect sense.
Like, what if, here's the thing. What if the guy was standing outside of the camera view at the elevator and he's like, dude, look, come on, let's just go hang out, you know?
Yeah.
Let's hang out for a little while. And he's like, we can go to the roof. Let's go up the ladder right here. We can go up and we can hang out and talk. And it's just this creeper dude. And she's like, okay, because she's maybe a little manic and she's taking risks. But she was also afraid.
She was definitely afraid. And it's so much easier in a manic state or when you're hypomanic to be like coerced into things.
Oh, you're down for most things.
And you believe most things. So if someone says, oh, I found your glasses, I put them on the roof for you, you'll walk your ass up to the roof to go get them.
Yeah, and you feel invincible. You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I've felt like that before. I've done crazy things.
I like your theory, though, that she was smothered, suffocated, asphyxiated, or something to that effect before she was put in the tank.
Yep, and then just laid in the tank just to hide her.
Because this idea that she was on a manic episode, forget manic episode, that doesn't matter, but this idea that this young woman scaled the building to find the roof, to go for a swim in the water tank is absolutely ridiculous. It's just, it can't be true. It can't be true.
Ain't nobody swimming in that water tank. That is disgusting. And it's like a water tank.
And there was probably just like a little hole at the top of that cistern. And like you said, it's all dark and slimy and just disgusting.
You know, it has to be disgusting.
So why would anyone go in there willingly? Why would she go in there willingly? There's no way she was manic and wanted to go for a swim. That's not how mania works.
No, did they say that?
Yeah, I mean,
she would have gone for a swim?
That was like some of the early things that they were talking about. Yeah.
I'm dying because it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard too. It's just not possible. I mean, it's possible, but it's just not what happened, right? It's too far-fetched. It's too suspect to not rule that a homicide and investigate it as such.
I really would like to have someone from the Cecil come on and talk to us, actually.
Who could we get? Like a former employee?
There's the manager that people say, what's up with the manager? That Amy Price was her name?
Yeah.
And that she's really off and like she gives really strange vibes.
Should we get her on? Can we get her on, you think? Are we big time enough?
Well, definitely not now, but maybe we could try. I don't know.
I say we just try.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Just to see like what her story could be, what she maybe thinks happened.
Or if she's covering for the Cecil.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good point. I wonder what she thinks happened. Because if she thinks someone killed her, then for sure someone killed her.
How many people do you think? What do you think the percentage is of people who think she was killed or that she committed suicide?
I think 75% of people think she was killed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm just guessing.
No, I do too. So I'm thinking if it's that much, if it's over 60%, that case should be reopened, especially since they made documentaries and shit about it.
No, you're right. It's like at this point, it's like in the public's interest to know what happened or to at least test some of the evidence.
Her poor parents.
And there's just so many like lingering questions we have. Like, you know, obviously the big one was she a victim of foul play or suffering from hallucinations or both? How'd the cadaver dogs miss her when they searched the roof?
Mm-hmm.
Were those even her clothes?
What if someone had her in the room the whole time and then took her up there?
Oh, it's so freaky.
To get rid of her. Because they're like, oh shit, I have to get rid of her.
It's a great place to do it.
Yeah.
Until it's not, but.
Until the water turns brown.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest mysteries to me is, were those her clothes? Because they said she was like a size small, but she was wearing a size men's medium shorts and a large men's t-shirt. I know. So were those even her clothes? That's a big lingering question to me.
She weighed like 115 pounds. She's little.
I mean, at the end of the day, if I had to put my money on it, even though there's no evidence to say that, there's just a lack of, but you know, a lack of evidence doesn't mean there's a lack of a crime that happened. I think ultimately she was forced or coerced to the roof. She was assaulted and thrown in the tank. That's what I think happened.
Because I think she had to be smothered first.
You think she was smothered first? Okay. I don't know how she died, but I think she was put in the tank after her death.
Me too. Definitely. I think she was put in the tank after her death, but with no markings on her. How else would they have killed her?
Yeah. So you think she was assaulted and then smothered?
Mm-hmm.
Thrown in the tank?
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll try to talk to somebody. I'm going to Google some people that we could chat with.
Yeah, I'd even like to get your therapist on, or someone like a psychologist who kind of can really give the listeners an understanding of what a manic episode's like, right? We only have our own small experiences with that.
Yeah, we have our personal experiences, but we can get like a really professional, where she can break it down and be like, this probably didn't happen or this probably could happen. And maybe we're
Definitely.
completely wrong and she did. I don't know. But yeah, I can try to get her on.
So what do you think? Have we broken down this case for now as much as we're going to do before we're able to talk to some new witnesses and get some new evidence in here?
Totally, because we went through the whole timeline. We questioned things, right?
Yeah.
I think that we've broken it down pretty
I
well.
don't know what's left, what else is left to discuss other than, some questions the viewers might have, or even better, some things that we might have missed, some more information for the case.
Yeah, if anyone has any information, why don't you put it, if you guys are going to watch the shit, put it in the YouTube comments, because that's where we can see and like we'll definitely respond to you.
Yeah, and send some comments, good or bad. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll talk about them.
Yeah, and like we're not going away even if you don't like us. So
no, exactly. Even if you say fuck you, I'm going to read it.
Yeah, we'll say fuck you back.
Yeah, fuck you back, and we'll read it on the next pod. But we will be back, next week.
Until then, fuck you back.
Out. Fuck you.
Till then, fuck you.
Out.
Tune into the Crime Murder Man podcast. Andy got the facts, Amanda spitting fast. Delve into the night, mysteries unfold. Cold cases sitting deep, not a story told. Serial killers lurking in the shadows, they creep. Amanda's got the files, secrets she keep. Andy dissecting, forensic on the mic. Every episode hits, spine chilling like a knife. Murder Man podcast, voices in the dark, solving every puzzle piece, never miss the mark. Andy and Amanda, truth they unmask. Tune in every week for the twisted task. On the trail of a killer, blood runs cold. Eyewitness tales and legends old. Amanda breaking down clues piece by piece. Andy putting it together, never seeing peace. Whispers in the wind, serial mind unfazed. Evidence presented, audience amazed. Grim tales of murder, heartbreaking loss. Andy and Amanda, the duo, no one's boss. Murder Man podcast, voices in the dark, solving every puzzle piece, never miss the mark. Andy and Amanda, truth they unmask. Tune in every week for the twisted task. Murder Man podcast, twisted task. Tune into the Crime Murder Man podcast. For the twisted task. Murder Man podcast, voices in the dark, solving every puzzle piece, never miss the mark. Andy and Amanda, truth they unmask. Tune in every week for the twisted task. Every week for the twisted task.